Assalamualaikum. We are Group 2 and our topic is returns and assessment. Our learning objectives are to know the types of returns, types of assessment, to relate this topic with the current issues and to explain what is e-filing system. According to Section 77 Subsection 1 of the Income Tax Act 1967, the Director General may require taxpayers to forward a return of income in a prescribed form. This form contains information which may be required for the purpose of ascertaining the chargeable income for a year of assessment. Companies, trust bodies or cooperative societies will submit their returns within 7 months following the close of their accounting period. For taxpayers with business income, they shall submit their returns not later than 13 June in the year following in a year of assessment. While for an individual with employment income or investment income, returns have to be submitted at least by 13 April of the following year. Chargeable person is generally defined as a person who derives income from Malaysia. As for husband and wife taxpayers, wife's total income will be aggregate with the husband's. The wife shall be treated as having no chargeable income for that year. However, this will not relieve the wife from the liability. Where liability is imposed, the wife is similarly liable as her husband. Section 75 Subsection 1 sets out the chargeable person for company and body of person. In the case of company, the liability lies with the manager or other principal officer in Malaysia, the directors, the secretary and any person exercising the function of any of the person mentioned in the foregoing subpara. For body of persons, the liabilities lies with the manager, the treasurer, the secretary and the members of its controlling authority. However, for company in liquidation, liquidator must first make full provision for the payment of any income tax which he knows or might reasonably expect to be payable by the company before distributing the asset of the company to its shareholder. The various types of returns formed for different categories of taxpayers are B. Resident individuals with other sources of income besides employment income. Form M, non-resident individual. Form C, companies. Form C1, cooperative society. Form P for partnership. Form T for trust, deceased person estate, club, association, societies and Hindu joint family. And Form E, written by employer. For notice of chargeability, there is no requirement to inform tax authorities with effect from year assessment 2004. For new arrival, that person shall inform Director General within 2 months after his arrival, regardless whether he will be chargeable for that year of assessment or the following year of assessment.
An assessment is a notice in writing issued by the tax authorities to the chargeable person. The assessment will state the amount of income tax payable and the assessment notice is known as Form J. Where a chargeable person submits his return to the Director General for year assessment, Director General may accept the return and raise an assessment accordingly or alternatively. The Director General may reject the return and determine the tax payable based on the best of his judgment. There are various types of assessment, such as original assessment, reduced assessment, additional assessment, composite assessment, increased assessment, advanced assessment, and protective assessment. The notice of assessment sent by post to the taxpayer shall be deemed to have been served on the taxpayer, notwithstanding that he may not receive it. The onus of proof is on the taxpayer to explain to the satisfactory of the Director General that he has not received it. Otherwise, penalty will be imposed on the taxpayer for late payment of income tax. The first is original assessment. Original assessment is the assessment made in accordance to the particulars provided by taxpayer or his agent in the relevant return. However, the Director General can also exercise his discretion in the following circumstances. For example, the taxpayers who submit their returns to IRP will prepare an assessment to determine the chargeable income and amount of tax payable. This net amount is derived after deducting any rebate and tax credit which may applicable after 2004. The second is reduced assessment. The Director General may, at his discretion, make a reduced assessment where the taxpayer's chargeable income is less than what has been assessed. Where there is an appeal against the assessment or additional assessment, the taxpayer may reach an agreement with the Director General during the review of assessment or by providing acceptable evidence for claims of expense. Win the case through appeals to court decision and resulting in the original assessment or additional assessment being reduced. As such, reduced assessment will be issued to reflect such income tax reduction. The third is additional assessment. Additional assessment is applicable only when there is an extra charge to be paid by taxpayers. Additional assessment may be raised by Director General in the following circumstances. The taxpayer had omitted certain income while making the return and it is discovered by the Director General after making original assessment. Next, when tax had been refunded the taxpayer by an error or fact of or law, and when there is an additional income which has not been taken into account when making the return or the original assessment has not taken into account that income. For example, the case of Inri XY and Company. Next, the composite assessment. Composite assessment is an assessment issued by the Director General when a person fails to furnish a return in accordance to Section 77 subsection 1. In addition, individuals who fail to give notice of chargeability or make incorrect returns on behalf of himself or another person will also be issued a composite assessment. Next is advanced assessment. The Director General has the power to assess the taxpayer in advance to prevent loss of revenue. This power is given under Section 92 of the Act. Section 92 provides that an advanced assessment may be issued to a person under specified situations as the following: where a person ceases to possess a business in year of assessment, and where a person is about to leave Malaysia and his sources of income are likely to cease upon leaving. There is a time bar for issuance of assessment. With effect from 1st January 2014, the time limit for issuance of original assessment and additional assessment is within 5 years after the end of the relevant year assessment. For the exception, when the Director General can prove any fraud, willful default or negligence, additional assessment can be made any time for the purpose of making good any loss of tax attributable to the fraud, willful or negligence in question. Last but not least, late receipt of notice of assessment and other notice. As a notice normally delivered by normal post, the tax authorities recognize the possibility of postal delay in the delivery of notices to the party concerned, and accordingly a grace period of 1 week is normally granted before any penalty for late payment or submission of relevant information is imposed. Generally, any tax payable need to pay within 30 days from the date of notice of assessment.
Next, I will talk about the current issue, which is the acceptance of e-filing system by Malaysian taxpayers. So as we know that e-filing system is an important e-government service in Malaysia. E-government facilitates the public access to government information and services. Malaysia recognizes the potential of e-government has invested a substantial amount of capital in developing its e-government. Malaysia began its e-government initiative in 1997 and continues to promote it development until today. Furthermore, the Malaysian e-government portal offers more than 1,000 service online and more than 3,000 downloadable government forms. The electronic tax e-filing is one of the most popular e-government services in Malaysia. Next, the electronic tax e-filing was introduced in 2006 by the Malaysian Inland Revenue Board to the Malaysian taxpayers. It is include individuals and companies. Under the e-filing system, taxpayers need to fill the tax returns through the internet. Throughout this process, the system provides some guidance to the taxpayers on the correct information to include in the tax return. The system also calculates the amount of tax assessed based on the information that was provided in tax return. So, through this electronic tax e-filing, the Inland Revenue Board improves the efficiency of the tax assessment method by increasing tax collection and reducing computation error. Furthermore, the e-filing system was benefits taxpayers because tax returns are sent electronically to the Inland Revenue Board, which saves taxpayers time. In the e-filing promotion campaign, the tagline "Easy to use, accurate, and safe to use" were used in this system.
So, next is e-filing has potentials to benefit both taxpayers and the Inland Revenue Board, but only if it is actually used by the Malaysian taxpayers. Thus, the purpose of this study is to identify the factors that affect taxpayers' decision to use the e-filing system. This study contributes to the literature of e-government in two ways. The next one is the government should increase its effort to promote the usefulness and user-friendliness of the e-filing system. This means the government have to increase by invest more in advertising campaign that clearly denotes the usefulness of e-filing. This campaign should be strategically administered during the tax filing months. For example, advertising on billboards that are strategically located to capture a bigger audience. The system is of use should also be stressed in the advertisement campaign. Besides advertisement, the Inland Revenue Board could also improve the user-friendliness of the system by creating web-based tutorials or videos that guides the taxpayers on how to use the e-filing system. IRB, Inland Revenue Board, could also increase its online support, such as providing the service for 24 hours during the tax filing months. This is very important as most of the taxpayers will choose to e-file their returns at odd hours. Inland Revenue Board need to reduce the taxpayers' perceived risk to encourage more taxpayers to e-file their tax returns. There are several initiatives that could lower the perceived risk of future adopters. Next will be presented by Asma.
So next I will present about the initiative that could lower the perceived more taxpayers to e-file their tax return. For the first point is the Inland Revenue Board can employ multiple firewalls by using the latest antivirus and worm detection software. So as you know, usage of the internet is very rampant in our life, not only the people but also the organization. So IRB should use the latest antivirus and worm detection software as all of us aware. Virus is a threat, and nowadays hackers commonly use vicious multi-layered attacks such as worm to ensure that they get back the information to them. So basically, IRB should ensure that they use the latest antivirus and worm detection software, and beside that, they need to aware that all internet transmission should use SSL, which stands for Secure Socket Layer, as an encrypted security measures. Because by doing this, embedded security features in filing system need to be communicated to the taxpayers so that they're aware that e-filing is actually a secure system. So the second one is IRB has to improve the performance of the e-filing system. Okay, as we acknowledge, the performance of the system has strongest positive relationship with user satisfaction, because if the system ineffective, then it will become a burden to the taxpayer to use it. So basically, there are two crucial electronic quality dimensions which influence the user satisfaction. Which the first one is information quality. For information quality, Inland Revenue Board must ensure that the information given to the people are always updated. And the second component is system quality, which it consists of responsiveness and functionality. Okay, I want to add on that the current e-filing electronic quality dimension rate shows it has achieved good rating and feedback from the respondent or users, with mean value at SIG4, and the standard deviation itself is actually 0.66 and 0.74. Generally, when you can see the rate, it shows that e-filing system actually serve accurate information to the respondent, and also its great functionality met respondent requirement. So IRB need to improve the performance of the e-filing system. The last one is taxpayer will e-file near the tax deadline, creating a high volume of traffic. Thus, IRB has to ensure that the system could cope with the traffic demand. To cope with the problem, Inland Revenue Board can offer rebates to the taxpayers that e-file their returns early. Because if IRB do this kind of method, it actually encourage more people to do their filing early, because they know they can get something in return. Besides that, IRB also can outsource e-filing service to private company. So the next slide, I shall pass to the next presenter.
As a conclusion, returns and assessment give impact on taxpayers regarding their responsibilities. Taxpayers must know on how to report, compute, and pay their taxes according to the tax laws, so that they can fully understand the tax laws, compute and pay the correct amount of tax liability, as well as keeping appropriate records. Taxpayers must possess the necessary knowledge and skills to comply with the tax laws. Therefore, taxpayers are indirectly required to learn or obtain appropriate knowledge in order to understand tax rules and regulations. Last but not least, it is an approach by which taxpayers are obligated by the laws to ascertain their chargeable income, compute their tax liability, and submit their tax returns based on existing tax legislations.